Hey there, I just posted a video on making this, a new edition of my mini portable tabletop workbench. And if you haven't seen that video, I'll have a link in the description. Now this is something I've been wanting to build or rebuild for a while, ever since I made this first edition, which I have an older video for, and I'll also put a link to that in the description. There's quite a few things I wanted to improve on after building this. One of them is that the rails and threaded rod are exposed. Not a big deal, doesn't really matter, but I thought it would be cool if I could conceal those within the workbench. Now the next thing is I didn't use a threaded insert or T-nut. I just sandwiched a nut in between the wood here, which I guess it worked okay, but not the best approach for that either. Now there's a couple things around the vise collar. The first one, I just used wood glue to glue the collar to the threaded rod, which didn't take long at all or much force to break loose. And that's all I had on hand. I figured it wouldn't work. I thought I would just test it out anyway. I actually pointed that out in the video. A better solution is something like epoxy, construction adhesive, some type of adhesive that adheres to both wood and metal. Now the other thing with this, as you can probably tell here, as I loosen the vise, the plate doesn't move on its own, so you have to manually bump that out, which is really annoying when you're trying to slightly line something up. It's hard to gauge exactly how far to go. So that's another thing I wanted to improve on. Now with the new one, first of all, it's got a lot more mass because it's one solid block of 2x4s glued together, going the tall way, so it's about 3 inches tall after trimming it down. But that, in combination with these non-slip pads, makes it insanely difficult to nudge around on a tabletop. You can slide it, obviously, if it's not a miracle solution, but it helps a lot compared to what I had before, which was nothing. Now, so obviously, yeah, I concealed the rails and threaded rod, but the thing that really matters here is with the new vise, as I loosen it, you can tell the plate there moves with the collar. And I showed how I did that in the video. I used a locking nut and then some washers and basically slightly clamped the plate to the collar. And so that way, as you loosen it, it moves with it. And that works pretty well. There's probably a number of ways you can do that, but that was the easiest for this one. And that's something I was really going for, is keeping this easy to build. Because this is just kind of a fun project to build a mini workbench that I can bring with camping to do carving or whatever else, just something fun like that. So I'm curious to know what you guys think. What do you think of this new design? Is there something you would improve on this even further? I'd love to know, so let me know in the comments.